Attention Earthlings, do not attempt to adjust your dial.
You are about to voyage into the marvelously mystifying.
Join us as we navigate the enigmatic waters of consciousness, delve into the arcane realms of the occult and the paranormal, and converse with captivating beings from across the universe.
Prepare to expand your mind, challenge your perceptions, and journey into the unknown with your guides, Bunnicula and HP Hovercraft.
The frequencies of strangeness await.
Welcome to Dizzy Spell.
Dizzy Spell. Dizzy Spell. Dizzy Spell. Dizzy Spell. Dizzy Spell. Dizzy Spell. Dizzy Spell. Dizzy Spell. Dizzy Spell.
Wow. Welcome, Earthlings.
Yes.
Ooh. It feels good. I don't know. I feel good.
I'm
in
about
this
it.
space. The sun is out,
Sun
which
is
is
out.
disconcerting, but I like it.
Yeah, I'm not upset about it. But it is weird. It is jarring.
Yeah.
To some extent.
Yeah. So where are we, HP Hovercraft?
Like in the world, like mentally,
Wherever you want to share.
dimensionally.
Yes. All of those.
Man, I'm in a good spot. I'm happy to
Good.
be here.
Ooh.
I'm excited to talk about my topic. I've kind of been obsessive about it for like 2 or 3 days.
I like
I
that
don't
you just
know
wrote
how-
glitter.
I don't. Well, because here, so
I can't wait.
spoiler. I didn't. This is gonna be so. I didn't write anything because it's so in me. It's
Great.
gonna be completely off the dome,
I love it.
but it's gonna be great.
I
I've
love
been
it.
thinking about it so much. I was like, I'm doing a disservice if I'm gonna like try to limit myself to like writing a script.
Fair enough.
So
Yeah.
we're just
Just
gonna
roll with it, baby.
we're just gonna go, and I'm gonna get you involved. I got questions,
Yes.
and I got theories, and I hope answers. Before we get into this, though,
Uh-huh.
have you seen New Dune?
No.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I mean, I know what happens.
Yes.
Kind of.
So I just gotta talk about Dune for
That's fine.
like a little bit.
Okay.
I
No spoilers,
took
I
the
guess.
day off
Ooh.
of work to go see Dune because I needed to see it.
Respect.
I haven't seen a movie in a theater in almost 1.5 years.
Oh, wow.
But I needed to go. I needed to be on top of Dune now. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Great movie. I loved it.
Better than the first?
I don't see. It's almost not like that's something that I was thinking about after I saw it is that I think that I did enjoy Dune 1 more,
Mm.
but I've seen it way more times.
Okay, yeah.
Obviously,
Mhm.
and I watched it twice in the last couple weeks, just like trying to get back into the Dune frame of mind, which
Sure.
I'm now stuck in.
I love the Dune frame of mind.
And well, that's what's great about it is that it is such a world that like it's all the whole first one is like all exposition. Second one is kind of too in the grander scheme of Dune as a longer concept in all of the books and the prequels, but I'm not going to say I'm a Dune expert at all. I'm a student of Dune right now.
You're a Dune dude. You're a
But
Dune-net. Wait.
so these are all building to what everybody says is like the real Dune is like book 4.
That's what I hear. Yeah,
Is
for
like
sure.
the God Emperor of Dune is like
Mm-hmm.
that's when it's Dune.
Mm-hmm.
But I spent all of this time rewatching the movies, these 2 new ones, reading all fan theory synopsis things, all the books, just getting so immersed in what I want, and wanting to know that I just need to read all the books now.
Yeah.
I read the first one.
Yeah.
And I wanted to know what happened so bad that I just like went through it and
the cool thing
learned
is-
everything that I could.
The cool thing is they're so in depth and detailed and long that like you can read the spoilers, but like you're not ruining the story for yourself.
Yeah,
at
I'm not
all.
like this is not the kind of thing where there's like big reveals.
Right.
Like it's not like spoiler. It's just like, oh, it's crazy that this happens, but like that's the thing.
Mhm.
So I need him need Guy. Can't say
Denis Villeneuve.
Dean. I think it's Denis.
Denis Villeneuve.
I think it's Denis because
Villeneuve.
yeah.
No.
I need him to commit, make all of them. I understand that he probably won't. I think that he's going to stop at Messiah and it's going to be a trilogy. And I understand that's just like the Paul story and that's fine. But I need Dune Messiah like to come out like next year. Please, as soon as possible. Make it happen for me.
I love it.
And also, I have been thinking a lot about the parallels between like this being so. A lot of people like want to say that like Dune's not sci-fi. It's like soft sci-fi is like the thing because it's not technology, and so it is fantasy.
Yeah.
Which then makes me like draw the comparison to when was the last time that there was like an adapted book trilogy that was like lauded like this and will probably win Oscars, and that's Lord of the Rings. And so I just think that it's cool.
Yeah.
Cool to think about and say, I bet Dune Messiah will win Best Picture. Whatever many years from now when it happens as an award for like Peter Jackson with Lord of the Rings. That'll happen and it'll be kind of like you did a good job with this trilogy thing.
I like your prediction. That's cool.
I think that it's so like it's the same. It's got a similar cultural impact. Obviously, Lord of the Rings wasn't coming out when there was the internet as it is now, where there's like the memes and everybody talking about it like that. But it is like every single person that you know went and saw Lord of the Rings, right? Like,
yeah.
So I just think that's cool.
Cool.
That's all.
I have one question.
Okay.
Does the second book at all get into mentats? Do they ever talk about the mentats? They don't talk about them at all in the first movie.
No. And they don't. Huh. No, they don't.
That's like an interesting choice. I'm curious to know exactly why that is something that they just decided to write out. I don't know. I'm sure just for ease of like,
it's an
clarity.
Almost 3-hour movie.
Yeah.
It's like 6 hours of movie almost. That's one 700-page book. Like certain things are cut out,
like
certain
such
things
an
are
important
changed.
part of the story, at least from just my perspective. I don't know. Yeah, that's curious. I'm curious. That's interesting. Well, all right. Dune frame of mind. I dig it.
I'm all in. Need it.
I love it. Well, here we are. This is episode number 2. This is a Dizzy Spell podcast. I'm Bunnicula. We didn't say that earlier.
Yeah, am I HP Hovercraft again? Yes.
I think you are.
Yeah, I'm going HP Hovercraft on this.
Let me check. Yes, you are.
Sweet.
Yes, okay. And as always, you can find our podcast on all streaming services. I guess I don't have to say that if you're already listening to it, ? I don't know.
Yeah, but this is when we have to start saying, please give us 5 stars, rate us,
5
review us.
only.
Yeah. It's helpful if you do that. So if you're listening,
5 is the magic number, baby.
Go give us a review. It is actually helpful from what I understand.
Yes. Ooh, yeah, you're so right. Yeah, and you can also connect with us on Instagram, always at Dizzy Spell World. We love you. All right. Any other banter / pop culture that you want to talk about? I'm trying to think
of like what's happened since last time.
Well, the thing that has been on my mind the most, we're going to get into during our news roundup.
Yes,
so I'm going to kind of hold off on that. But yeah, I've been really in this weird place with like my relationship with the internet and trying to like figure out how to use it more as a tool and not let it like run my life or, like be so interwoven maybe. And so I'm really excited because I think we're going to explore that kind of concept about like the internet and like where we are today with it here in the podcast soon. So that's really cool. But yeah, other than that, just feeling stoked about the new show, feeling good about it being sunny in the studio here at We Own This Town Studios while we're recording.
Yeah, it feels good.
I like it.
It's nice that it's the daytime.
Yeah.
Nice. It's obviously not going to be daytime when I go home, but
yeah,
it's cool.
Yeah. So, do you want to get into our DQs?
Yeah, let's get some more of those. There was a lot more questions in there last week than I expected there to be. So I'm excited to see what some of them are.
Yeah, I'm just going to do one last quick check and see if anything has come through on our various lines. Okay, I think this is all of our questions gathered into one place. HP Hovercraft, will you please select the first DQ?
Okay. Let's see what it says. Biblical story of Ezekiel plus how can I get what he was smoking?
Yeah, I guess I think I have probably at some point talked about Ezekiel's wheel like a long time ago on the radio show, but yeah, I definitely am curious. Do you know about Ezekiel's wheel at all?
Honestly, I'm so far removed from my Catholic Christian upbringing that I don't know if I could pull anything.
So Ezekiel's wheel is, I'm just going to try and pop this off from memory. So Ezekiel's wheel is basically this figure, craft, structure, question mark, thing, wheel that was made of eyes and fire and was like an omni wheel. So it was something that people have gone on to actually invent this real thing, which is like a wheel that can turn in all directions. Does that make sense? And he saw this in the sky and it is described in the Bible. And obviously a lot of people think a lot of different things about it. DMT monster, I don't know. Angel, UFO.
DMT monsters can be my next year's radio handle.
DMT monsters. I like it. I'm into it. Yeah, so Eric von Daniken, who is super famous, he wrote Chariot of the Gods. He was one of the first people to point to the possibility, according to Wikipedia, of interpreting Ezekiel's Merkaba vision, which is what they called it, as a report of an extraterrestrial spacecraft. So other people, have kind of tried to disprove this hypothesis, so this guy Blumrich decided to try and disprove it, and through an examination he actually became convinced that Ezekiel had in fact seen a spaceship, and then he made detailed drawings of the craft and decided the technology of the builders must have been somewhat higher than mankind's at the present. Very interesting. He said he was fascinated by being proven wrong.
Wow.
Aren't we always? But yeah, no, it's a pretty wild story and one of many in the Bible that could be, and various religious texts,
interpreted as like an extraterrestrial,
some sort of contact or sighting of some strangeness in the sky.
So second part of the question, how do you get what he was smoking?
That's a really good question. I feel like you would have to dive a little more into actually who Ezekiel was. I don't know too much about that guy, but I bet if you got into it, I don't know, you might be able to find out what he was smoking.
I would say it's weed, and it's stronger now than it ever has been before.
And that's why we can't see Ezekiel's wheel, because it's too strong. What do you think?
You're too in line.
Is that it? Okay. I like it.
Cool. All right. You pull one.
Solved that one.
Done.
Thanks.
Rip it up. Start
Dizzy
again.
question. Solved. All right. Ready? Top 10 freakiest Lil Alien Freak encounters.
Top 10
freakiest little alien freak encounters. Let's just see if we can name 10 cool ones.
Is that a new SoundCloud rapper I'm not familiar with? Or
yes.
Lil Alien.
Lil Alien Freak.
Lil Alien Freak.
Okay, so first time I met Lil Alien Freak, I was down in Little Tokyo in LA, and I was just like near this candy shop hanging out, and Lil Alien Freak came up and was all like, yo, what's up? I run this vintage shop down the street. And I went over to his vintage shop and checked it out and bought some sunglasses.
I went out to eat with a Little Alien Freak, and he was like, I only eat chicken fingers and pizza bagels. And we were at like an actual, we were at like Chili's or something. Mm-hmm. And they didn't have either of those things there. And he made us leave, and we had to go to Olive Garden where he got plain buttered noodles.
Interesting.
That's it.
Why? One time I was getting my hair cut, and I just happened to see Lil Alien Freak out the window, down the street, across the street, just like getting into an insane altercation with an Hare Krishna. Just like absolute madness.
He be doing that.
Lil Alien Freak.
You gotta keep him away. That guy crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, new Dizzy Spell character unlocked.
Yes, a little alien freak. We'll get into
We'll
the
check
other
up on
7
him. We'll keep checking up on him.
Yeah.
When time comes, but all right.
I love it. I love it. All right. Well, there's a couple DQs, direct queries, Dizzy questions for you.
Sweet.
I'm writing down little alien freak.
Yeah.
So, shall we move on
Let's
to
go. Okay.
the database?
Let's check it out.
All right. Okay. Give me a number between like 1 and 25.
17.
Okay. 40, 15, 16, 17. Orb. All right. So there's 6,000 reports for orbs.
Wow.
The most recent was in Phoenix, Arizona. That has been, I guess, posted. And it occurred on March 10th in Phoenix, Arizona, in Moon Valley. It was red and orange orbs, 15 to 20 feet in diameter. Actually, it looks like there was just one. Flew in a large oval about 2 miles, the size of a car, flying about 12,000 feet high, about 40 miles per hour.
Do you think that you could clock 12,000 feet high?
No. I could not tell you how fast it's going. I could not tell you what size it is. I could barely tell you what color
You look up at something and go,
no.
That's about 12,000 feet high.
Absolutely not.
There's no way.
I know. Every time I see one of these reports, I think about that. I'm like, how do you know? How do you know?
12,000 feet?
That's what they're saying. All right, here's the video. Wait, let's just check out this video here. Do you see this? Ooh, This is a pretty curious, weird, kind of blinking red-orange orb. Do you see this?
Oh, I love a curious blinking white and orange orb.
I mean, come on, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, you got one? What do you got? What do you got?
I'm just looking at Tennessee and I'm not finding anything that really is like speaking to me like last year or last week when we talked about it.
That's fair. Okay, this one's very intriguing. This was posted on the 13th of March. It says it occurred on the 5th of March. It says it was a duration of about 1 to 2 minutes, and that one person viewed it from the balcony of an apartment clubhouse in Tampa, Florida. It is a black orb. They estimated it to be 6 to 10 feet around. But yeah, it's like, what? That's tiny, kind of, right? Yeah. For a craft. Viewed from the land, and they estimated that it was going 40 to 60 miles per hour, but hard to tell. They said there was an aura or haze around the object and that it changed color and landed. So they said, I witnessed this black orb-shaped object about a quarter to a half a mile away over Tampa Bay, and I'd estimate maybe about 100 feet in the air and approximately 6 to 10 feet round. I'd say the total length of the sighting was 1 to 2 minutes. At first I thought maybe it was a balloon, but quickly determined it wasn't because of its movement. The wind was blowing straight in my face, but this object started moving away from my location. So it started to move away due west across the bay at a pretty good speed and got about maybe 2 to 3 miles away before stopping and descending straight down into the water. I didn't see any splash or anything. It seemed to just merge with the water. Bro, but it was very far away at this point, so it was hard to tell. The object also kind of shimmered sometimes, but its movement seemed to be intelligently controlled and not random. I managed to take a zoomed in picture of it, but I didn't even think to take a video because I was looking at it trying to figure out what it was. At that distance, my phone video probably wouldn't have shown much detail anyway. So here's the photo. That's like a pretty zoomed in version, but this is intriguing. Like, look at this. It's just like above the ocean here.
Yeah, that looks kind of crazy.
Weird, right? Yeah. And it does seem to have this like kind of slight lighter aura around it.
It reminds me of the Nope.
Totally.
Nope alien.
The best.
For sure. Is that spoilers at this point to say?
I don't think so. No, not at all.
Yeah. Come on, guys. If you're listening to this show and you haven't seen the movie Nope.
What are you doing with your life? Well, to be fair, they could have picked up this transmission from one of the other dimensions that we leak into sometimes where Nope doesn't exist because it's actually happening. So there's that.
I like that.
Or because Jordan Peele made Yep instead. And that's where he roped it. He it's a movie where a rodeo clown roped it. Mm-hmm. And then he wrote it.
He was saying, "Yep."
He thought about
you wrote it like the worms in Dune.
Exactly. You get it.
everything reminds me of Dune.
Dune frame of mind, baby.
This is not that interesting. It's funny for a couple of reasons. Apparently there was recently a SpaceX launch, and lots of the recent reports are talking about stuff around that.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's what I'm talking about. Like, I think that it would be interesting to cross-reference things on this to say the like Florida Mall mishap of a few months ago.
Yeah. That's fun.
However, so this one, just San Diego. Red light appeared with a comet-like wake traveling west to southeast over San Diego. I was on a nightly walk and saw this unusual sight. I took a few photos with my iPhone 15, which is funny to specifically say, and like talk about a guy that is like a SpaceX follower that's not gonna like, I don't know. But look at that.
What?
Yeah.
But that's a spaceship, right?
No, that's
No?
something that he saw afterwards.
Whoa.
And that's kind of crazy to look at. It looks like a comet.
It's beautiful.
But it could be, obviously it could be whatever, but
wow.
that's something.
That's really
That's
cool.
like, it's a lot more remarkable than most of the other pictures that you ever see.
Yeah. Wow. Beautiful stuff.
Again, we're on a podcast, so
tell a little more about this report so they can find it on the website.
yeah. So this is the New Fork sighting 180781.
We should say New Fork means National UFO Reporting Center. We just jumped right in again, but yes, this is something we'll be doing probably every
Checking
episode.
Checking
up on these UFO reports. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's sighting 180781 recently, March 10th, 2024. In San Diego. Just one of those ones.
Of course it's San Diego. It's always San Diego.
It's always
man.
coastal. I'm gonna do mine first.
Oh yeah.
Is that cool?
Absolutely.
So I came across this story probably 2 or 3 days ago, just seeing people talking about it on TikTok, making little videos about it. TikTok videos are so unsatisfying in their, like, it's like somebody's just like, oh, this thing about this thing? There's a million people doing that, and then there's no like good resolution.
Okay.
It's just, they're all teases. So I fell down this rabbit hole. I saw people talking about the like glitter conspiracy. I was like, what's that? So apparently all this stems from, in 2018, a journalist for the New York Times, Katie Weaver, wrote an article called "What is Glitter?" where she wanted to there was a shortage at the time. And it's like, what is glitter? What exactly is it? Everybody interacts with it. Everybody knows it.
Mm-hmm.
In the article where she talks to somebody from the industry, they say, you see glitter every day. Like every single American sees glitter every day,
that makes
whether
sense.
they realize it or not.
Yeah.
While she is writing this and researching it, she kind of stumbles upon a weird like air of secrecy around the industry.
Okay.
So there's two main producers of glitter in the US.
I feel like, wasn't there a How It's Made episode about glitter?
Maybe. But
I wonder if it was one of these companies.
Would I be surprised, however, if it was thorough? Because so she talks in this article, there's two main producers in the US, both of them in New Jersey. One of them completely refused to speak to her and said, we're a very secret company. We're a very private company. We have no interest in talking to you whatsoever.
Interesting.
Whatever. The other one, GlitterX, is who she does get to talk to her and let her come to the factory on the condition that she cannot see the glitter being produced. She can't be in the same room where it's being produced. She can't even hear the glitter being produced.
Okay, I don't like that.
And that like, so like,
that's a weird extra level.
So it's like, okay, that sounds insane, but part of the whole deal is that it's extremely hard to do, like misleadingly hard to produce glitter.
Okay.
That's what the owner of the company tells her. Is
Okay.
that the public doesn't understand how hard it is to do. So part of that is them protecting their like proprietary
Sure.
glitter producing stuff.
Totally.
But I just like got so obsessed with this because it's like
That's so
something that you
interesting.
don't think about.
Yeah, like, is it possible to reverse engineer things based on just hearing how something's produced? Because that's crazy if people are doing that.
Well, maybe not, but they're just like covering all their bases.
Yeah.
So this article comes out, and she like when she's writing, like the article is really great. I definitely recommend reading it.
It's just called What is Glitter?
It's just called What is Glitter, but it's like kind of funny the whole time. But she finally gets to when she's writing this, she gets to the warehouse, and there's one point that everybody really attaches themselves. Like, this is where the internet obsession comes from. There's 10,000 different kinds of glitter that they produce.
Each of these companies?
Just the one.
The one
She
that
doesn't know
talked to
anything
her.
about this.
Okay.
There's 10,000 different kinds. It's essentially
Wow.
like when you're talking about like what is glitter, it's like really, really tiny pieces of plastic that they then like evaporate aluminum around and then attach to it in like an extremely complicated process and then shred that into a million pieces. Another interesting thing that they touch on is every piece of glitter that's ever been produced still exists. Because it takes about 1,000 years for it to biodegrade, and it was only really invented in the 1930s, 40s. So all glitter that's ever
Wow.
been made still exists. Most of it's in the ocean.
Fuck that. Ugh.
So that's good. But near
Fuck
the end,
glitter.
so this is the part that everybody really gets to, which is why we're talking about this at all. Even though I recommend this article because it's great. She asked this person that she's talking to, who is like at this point the only person in the whole thing that would talk to her. They didn't even want to talk to her in the first place. She says, which industry is the biggest buyer of glitter? And the person says, oh no, I absolutely can't tell you that. And she says,
What?
but you know who it is? And she says, and this is a direct from the article, New York Times article, oh God, yes. And you would never guess you would never guess who it is. Let's just leave it at that. And I asked if she could tell me why she couldn't tell me. And she said, because they don't want anyone to know that it's glitter. And I said, if I looked at it,
What?
I wouldn't know it was glitter. And she said, no, not really. And I said, would I be able to see the glitter? And she said, oh, you'd be able to see something, but I can't.
Bro,
And then
this
she
is
goes,
like clicking in my brain.
This is like something that is so funny.
This is wild.
She says, I asked if she would tell me off the record. She would not. I asked if she would tell me off the record after this piece was published. She would not. I told her I couldn't die without knowing, and she changed the subject.
I love this journalist.
So, yeah.
Wow.
It's a really good article.
This is so fascinating.
So, of course, the internet
latched on.
And this, I gotta be clear, this is old news, kind of, but it's kind of,
Okay.
it's a little bit come back.
I
This was
love
a
it.
big deal in 2018 when this article was published. I want to say 2018, yes. And internet sleuths kind of ripped into it and were like, what is this? What could this possibly be? And there are a few theories that I think are the most interesting.
I love it.
So one of the major ones, well, obviously, if it's so secretive, the U.S. military is going to come into play.
Sure.
Obviously. The other one is it's in a food product or something. And they don't want you to know, because the big thing is they don't want you to know that it's glitter. So,
Well, as somebody who kind of is involved in the food service and stuff, would you have any theories about what food it would be?
there's a few. So, one of them is that.
Like maybe it's some other sort of tool, like it serves some other purpose.
So, one of the major things was it's in a wax coating that they coat fruit with to make it shimmer at the grocery store.
Okay.
And they don't want you to know
Totally.
that it's that. The other major one, before this was pretty much disproven was it's in toothpaste.
Okay.
You know, the kinds of toothpaste that have the little sparklies in them that you don't really know what they are.
Yeah.
That's what it is. The company has since gone on to clarify that it's not there's no food grade.
Okay.
There's no food grade glitter. But
Like, at all?
yes,
in the world?
They say it's not, so it wouldn't be FDA approved.
Wait, what? But isn't there like food grade glitter in the world? I'm confused. Hold on. What?
There's not, so it can be in cosmetics, it can be in like lipstick and things like that, but that's what they're saying is they don't produce anyone that can be like in like food.
But how do you get glittery cake?
Different thing,
Okay.
I guess.
Okay.
I don't know.
Huh. Sorry.
Didn't think about that one.
I don't know why I'm expecting you to have all these answers,
I don't
but
know.
you are married to a pastry chef, so I was like, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. We don't buy glitter at all.
It's fine. Yeah, you shouldn't.
might
It
be
sounds awful.
Might be in something. This is one that I found super intriguing. So then there's somebody pointed out a further article. This is all from Reddit. There's a huge Reddit thread
Can I guess?
about this. What is a guess?
Camouflage.
Close.
Okay.
Nah, not close. We'll get there. Though.
Cool.
So, major thing that's happened in the last 10, 15 years is dwindling beaches and new beaches being man-made and built.
Huh.
Sand being taken from other places brought to resorts and things like that.
Sure.
The idea is those companies are purchasing large amounts of glitter to then combine with the sand
Okay.
to make kind of like a faux sand.
That's incredibly fucked up if
Isn't
that's
that
what's
insane?
happening.
And then putting all of that straight plastic aluminum
Into the ocean.
directly into the ocean to make their sand, their resorts. So that's why they wouldn't want you to know. Like that's why that would be like such a secret.
I hate
That's
this.
why you wouldn't want you to know it's glitter. Okay.
I believe it.
And I think that one, like that's the one
Yeah.
that if I'm being myself,
Yeah.
that's one I'm like, seems close.
Yeah.
So, but then even going further than that, a lot of people point to, like you said, camouflage,
Invisibility cloaks.
painting of aircrafts.
Yeah.
And they don't want you to know that it's glitter because they don't want you to know that that's all that it is. Right? Like, that's why.
Cool.
However, this is the Dizzy spell.
And it's Alien April, babies.
So, I want to say, and I couldn't find this anywhere, but reverse that,
Yeah.
right? You want to talk about it's the U.S. military buying to protect their crafts from being spotted. Let's look to the skies, to the extraterrestrials,
Sure.
being the main purchasers of glitter
I love
in
it.
the U.S.
I love it.
to disguise their ships.
Yes.
And so that's why we cannot see them.
What?
That's what I think.
I love it.
That's where I'm going with it.
Wow.
That's the fun way to look at it, I think. End of my story.
Whoa. I love it. Thanks, HP. That was great.
Furthermore, you could also talk about like it's alien technology. It's them going, you produce this for us, we'll teach you how, and then you can provide us this to disguise ourselves, and that's why you can't see it getting made. That's why we don't understand the technology. That's why they say it's so technologically advanced.
Yeah.
Glitter is gift from extraterrestrials.
Cool. I love it.
That's what I have to say.
Wow. That's so interesting. Yeah, okay. I feel like you could ride that conspiracy so far too, because it's like, okay, well, they introduced it to us because they knew that it would slowly erode and ruin our civilization in all these ways, you know, or there are people who say that like we are here to mine gold or other precious metals because they're superconductors for aliens. Mm-hmm. And it's like, what if all the glitter is like a superconductor? And so by covering our entire planet in it,
they said hey, we
vaporize us.
We need this. It's super important. It's not worth destroying our own home planets for.
Yeah.
But if we can trick you into manufacturing it for us and destroying your planets.
I mean, that's essentially what we're doing by trying to colonize Mars. We're like, oh, we're already kind of ruining our own planet. So instead, let's just go ruin Mars. That's like kind of the same idea, right? Whoa, I love this. We're going all the way to the top with this HP. I want to know who's buying all this fucking glitter.
I really feel like this is one of the ones, like if this is real, that somebody's going to be at my house like,
it's gonna
waiting
blow
outside.
Yes. We're blowing the roof off it. I love it. Wow. Okay.
All right, what you got?
Okay. So, all right. This is our episode 2 of our new podcast, and we are closing out Alien April. We're only doing 2 episodes in April. And so I just wanted to kind of like recenter sort of on a lot of the things that we've sort of like learned over the past, like, I don't know, year or 2 of disclosure and these like UFO congressional hearings and these things that are happening. So I thought maybe it'd be kind of interesting. And I did find this very convenient article that sort of sums it all up. But yeah, I don't know. Most notably, and we've talked about this quite a bit, is that, you know, Congress has held these UFO congressional hearings to discuss both the potential / probable existence of these UAP at the very least, but also then got into later trying to open up the floor for whistleblowing to these sort of like secret organizations that are shadow within the government that have been huge parts of our budget have been going to whatever this research is that is about UAP and all these things. So I don't know. One of the big, huge ones that happened last July, of course, is David Grush going in front of Congress, where he was questioned about his knowledge of UAPs. He was a former Navy commander, a former U.S. intelligence official. And then also there was a former Navy commander named David Fravor and a former Navy pilot at that hearing named Ryan Graves, who they were also questioned. And so David Grush most notably said that the U.S. has been aware of non-human activity since the 1930s. So he's basically saying, and he said this on Joe Rogan too, on the one episode we'll ever listen to. I know. He
says that's like the first one that he can tell you about, right? Like,
yeah, and that predates Area 51, Roswell, all of that, which is very interesting to think about. I think this is the one that he also talked about that landed in, was it Spain or something? There was something that led to what may have been like a connection during World War II. Anyway, we'll come back to that. But
all those like him saying, that's his earliest, like intentionally in that podcast that we did talk about. Mm-hmm. He's always very intentionally being like, yes, that's the first one that I can confirm. That's the first one I can talk about.
Yes.
It just goes to show like how, and like this is a rollout. Like it's been a rollout for like a long time, but it is so intentional that they are like very like calculated in how they are disclosing this long form, which they've been doing for like a long time now.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Another thing David Grush talks about in that hearing is that the U.S. government is in possession of, quote, non-human biologics that they have recovered from UFO crash sites. So that was like a huge bomb, of course. Really big deal that hit the news last year.
Non-human, he says specifically in the...
Yeah.
It's not a deposition, but...
Yeah, on the record. So yeah, he basically says that biologics came with some of these recoveries, and he says that they were non-human, and that was the assessment of people with direct knowledge on the program I talked to that are still currently with that program.
Like, that's crazy. That's a crazy, like, confirmation, and it's crazy that, like, do you feel like everybody just, like, doesn't care?
What do you mean?
Like, the public?
Yes, 100%.
Like, what's up with that?
I think one, we're living in absolutely bonkers times.
Yeah.
You know, we've kind of talked about this. Two, it's like so much coming at us at once, but none of it is just the plain words, yes, they exist, you know? Like,
Yeah.
and so therefore
It's dressed up in like a,
Yeah.
you know, like exactly that, where it's like, he's not going to say, it's alien. He's like,
yeah.
was it human or non-human?
It's interesting you say that because we're actually going to, after I go through this sort of recap, get into a little more about the nature of them, which may give a little bit of a hint about why they're not saying it's aliens, right?
Yeah.
So another thing that he said is that he absolutely believes, David Grush believes, that the U.S. government is in possession of UAPs, and he personally interviewed 40 witnesses over the course of 4 years that confirm this, and he knows the exact locations of these UAPs. So this is really fascinating stuff. And then it goes on in the hearing to also include some information from Ryan Graves, where he says that as a Navy pilot, he saw objects completely stationary in hurricane force winds that would then accelerate to supersonic speeds. He said, we could see these objects being at 0.0 Mach, that's 0 airspeed. These objects were staying completely stationary in Category 4 hurricane winds. These same objects would then accelerate to supersonic speeds, 1.1, 1.2 Mach, and they would do so in a very erratic and quick behaviors that I don't have any explanation for. Very unnerving. I love it. So Ryan Graves also lastly said that he believes only 5% of UAP sightings are reported by U.S. pilots and that 95% of them are going unreported.
Wow.
This, I think, is a very interesting thing to think about. And I think that this will be very easy to confirm in the coming years, I think. I think we can predict. Let's make another prediction here. You predict that, what was your prediction you just had about glitter and how this is going to be like what blows the top off a lot of conspiracy and stuff. But yeah, my prediction is we're going to start seeing a lot more of these reports.
Yeah.
So the last thing I really wanted to get into today when I started thinking about Alien April was I recently revisited the awesome movie, The Mothman Prophecies. Have you ever seen it?
I like must have.
Yeah.
But I don't like.
That's okay.
I don't remember it. You know.
Well, I'll say this: I have a DVD. If you want to borrow it, I got the goods. And so, for those of you who don't know, The Mothman Prophecies is a book that was written by John Keel in 1975. John Keel was an American journalist and a ufologist, I guess you could say. And he famously wrote this book, The Mothman Prophecies, that was based on repeated visits he made to Point Pleasant, West Virginia, where he was investigating sightings on UFOs and Mothman.
Yes.
So I was watching the movie. It's really fictionalized as...
Is it a good movie?
It is a good movie, yes. It has this very interesting sort of eeriness that has just like a very tiny twinge of like, is any of this happening? But it's very slight, which is nice, you know? It's not like you get to the end and you're like, did any of it happen? Because in reality, this horrible bridge collapsed over a river.
Spoilers.
In Point Pleasant, West Virginia in the 70s. So it's based on that, but it's like takes place in the 90s, and John Keel's character is kind of broken up into two. There's like a journalist character, but then there's also Richard Gere, who plays sort of like the other aspect of him. So yeah, or I should say that the other character is a researcher, and then John Keel or Richard Gere is also more of the journalist character. So all of this to say that I watched this movie, I was feeling very interested in it, and I started looking a little more into John Keel. I ended up on his Wikipedia page. It is worth noting he also coined the term Men in Black, which I thought was very interesting.
Nice.
It was in an article that he wrote for a men's adventure magazine called Saga in 1967. happen. But what I thought was really fascinating and wanted to share with you today was this. So, like contemporary 1960s researchers such as J. Allen Hynek and Jacques Vallée, John Keel was initially hopeful that he could somehow validate the prevailing extraterrestrial visitation hypothesis. However, after 1 year of investigations, he concluded that the extraterrestrial hypothesis was untenable. Indeed, both J. Allen Hynek and Jacques Vallée eventually arrived at a similar conclusion. John Keel himself wrote, "I abandoned the extraterrestrial hypothesis in 1967 when my own field investigations disclosed an astonishing overlap between psychic phenomena and UFOs. The objects and apparitions do not necessarily originate on another planet and may not even exist as permanent constructions of matter. It is more likely that we see what we want to see and interpret such visions according to our contemporary beliefs," which is literally Ezekiel's wheel, which we were just talking about, right?
Uh-huh.
And I like that he's sort of like, kind of not just going all in on the UFOs.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm saying when I say that this is maybe part of why the government can't say, "Is you aliens?" And at the end of the day, I think it's like nobody knows, I just listened to this really great podcast episode. As I mentioned before, I'm a big fan now, a big fangirl now for Paul Giamatti's Chinwag podcast.
I gotta check it out because you've been chatting this out for like a minute.
I'm literally obsessed with it. Right now, I'm on an episode with Paul Rudd that is just like wonderful. But the reason I bring it up is because I listened to an episode recently that was really fascinating. The episode is with Katie Page, who is a MUFON, or Mutual UFO Network, star UFO investigator. And she gets into a lot of this stuff. Highly recommend you listen to these episodes. There's 2 of them that took place in June of 2023, called Truth and Lies with UFO investigator Katie Page and Are You Still a UFO Skeptic? And she gets into a lot of this, but most importantly, the thing she says is nobody knows. Nobody
knows. It's fun to speculate.
Yeah.
That's my whole deal. Let's have fun. I've been thinking about a Kurt Vonnegut.
Oh, yeah.
He's such a guy. But I've been thinking about this quote that I saw that's like a super famous quote where he's like, I told my wife I was going to go buy an envelope. And she says, you have like a lot of money. Why don't you just like order online like 100 envelopes? And he's like, because I'm going to have a hell of a good time going and getting the envelope. I'm going to see a bunch of beautiful babies. I'm going to see the fire truck go by and give them a thumbs up. I'm gonna see a lady and ask what kind of dog that is. And his ultimate point is that we are here on Earth to just fart around.
Yes.
And I just I've been really loving and thinking about that a lot.
Yes.
Lately.
High five. We're farting around.
That's what it's about. You're yeah, go and just do whatever. Just go and fart around.
I love that. That's beautiful. Kurt Vonnegut's one of my favorites. I was just reading about him this morning, so I love that. Thank you. I
think that he exists on the precipice of annoying youth authors that you maybe get into when you're in high school. At this point, important, who do you know that still is Kerouac, Bukowski is the guy? Yeah. And you grow out of that. Right. Salinger. All that. Yes. Yeah. And Chuck Palahniuk and whatever. Also, Chuck Klosterman. Different. I think that Kurt Vonnegut is the perfect centrist of that, where he's not. You can get he's in the class, right, with them, but he's so unserious. He's so
unpredictable.
Yeah. And I think that's where I really fall.
Yeah. Ooh, I love it. Just a little cosmology with HP Hovercraft right there. I love it. Well, in conclusion, just to summarize here, I like this last little passage here on this Wikipedia page about John Keel where he says, in UFOs, Operation Trojan Horse and the Eighth Tower, John Keel argues that a non-human or spiritual intelligence source has staged whole events over a long period of time in order to propagate and reinforce certain erroneous belief systems. We're going to come back to that in a minute when we talk about the news roundup. For example, example, monsters, ghosts, demons, the fairy faith in Middle Europe, vampire legends, mysterious airships in 1897, mysterious aeroplanes of the 1930s, mysterious helicopters, anomalous creature sightings, poltergeist phenomenon, balls of light, and UFOs. John Keel conjectured that ultimately all of these anomalies are a cover for the real phenomenon. He used the term ultraterrestrials to describe UFO occupants he believed to be non-human entities capable of taking on whatever form they want.
Nice. Truly ultra terrestrials.
Isn't that
is
fucking
sick.
tight?
Yeah, that is tight.
I want to be an ultra terrestrial.
Yeah,
Maybe not.
Someday.
Someday we will. Sick. Well, yeah. So
I'm not extra. I'm ultra.
Ooh, all right. There's some merch right there. Well, yeah. So that's where I kind of want to leave it. I really have been thinking a lot about this. I think it's so fascinating. Getting into the idea of the psychic phenomenon leak, like in the movie, they explore quite a bit the idea of that there's sort of like this both reverberation physically, where like people will get like phone calls from people who are either like dead or have already like left the room or like things like that. But also it's like the psychic link that is warning them, you know, the Mothman is kind of associated as like a harbinger of doom, and he's going to warn people of this impending
Harbinger
doom.
of Dune.
Nice. But yes, yeah, this horrible disaster happened after. Now, I don't want to speculate too much, but Mothman's been seen a lot around the O'Hare Airport and in Chicago for the past few years. I really am hoping this doesn't mean a disaster is headed their way, but we can hope not.
We're so on a list. After
for
this episode,
being psychic geniuses,
just
who
like in general,
just figure
between
everything out.
us calling out glitter being made by the aliens and with tragedy, speculating on the Chicago O'Hare.
Yeah, it's fair.
We don't want these things.
No, absolutely no. On the record, yeah, for sure. All right. So this is an article from March 20th, 2024. I thought you would think this one was particularly interesting here. First human to receive a Neuralink implant says it lets him play Civilization 6.
Right.
Don't you love it?
That's what we've been building towards. That's
Exactly.
all. Everybody just wants to not have to sit in their bed with their laptop on their tummies playing Civ 6. They want to be able to do it wherever, and when they're walking around, they want to be able to heat up their ramen noodles
while they're playing Civ 6.
While they're playing it, they want to ignore their roommates, not do the dishes. I'm speaking
while they play Civ 6.
I've known one person that played Civ ever in my life.
My husband
He's
plays.
like the worst roommate I've ever had in my life. So one time, true story, I was driving with our other roommate, and our car ran out of gas down the street. And we called him and said, "Can you come pick us up or like help us get gas?" And he said, "I'm in the middle of a live Civ game. I can't leave."
You got dominated in that moment. I'm sorry. That guy said, "You are not important to me."
I know. And he sucks. And I hate him to this day. And I never liked him. But like, come on, dude. You can't. He was like, "I can't pause it." And then we walked all the way home. And it was actually on, I guess we're not, I work on Charlotte, but it was like maybe 2 miles.
Okay.
And then we got back and he came downstairs and was like, "Glad you guys got home. I'm just really like sick right now. Like, I'm sorry." It's like, no, dude, you said you were in the middle of a live Civ game. That's why. Anyways.
Maybe you thought he said Civ 6, but he said, "I'm 6.
Because it was Civ 5 at the time.
Oh,
So, because of that, I've hated Civ my whole life.
Fair enough. Fair dinkum. All right. So, according to PCMag.com, in a live stream on Wednesday, this is again back in March, Neuralink, which is a company owned by Elon Musk, introduced a 29-year-old. Neuralink introduced 29-year-old Nolan Arbaugh, a quadriplegic who agreed to receive the brain chip back in January. He's since been using the implant to remotely control a mouse cursor on his computer. He lost his ability to use his limbs after a freak diving accident about 8 years ago, and he's paralyzed from below the shoulders. So it can be a struggle for him to use a computer even with today's accessibility controllers. But during a live stream, Arbaugh showed that he can now tap Neuralink's implant to play a game of chess on his laptop. The implant works by reading the brain signals from the user and translating them into Bluetooth-based remote commands to control an electronic device like a mouse cursor. This is so fascinating to me, and I don't understand how it works, but it's very cool. So he references the Star Wars. He says it's like using the Force, which I think is a really funny thing to say.
Come on, dude.
And he just says, I'm so freaking lucky to be a part of this. Every day it seems like we're learning new stuff. Very interesting stuff. I love it. Very cool. So they are continuing to recruit human patients to participate in the trials for the implant. I will not be signing up personally, but hey, if it's your vibe.
All I can ever think about when when this kind of like comes up where they're like, oh, we're getting a chip implanted or whatever, is how in Futurama, in the future, they get ads directly broadcast to their dreams.
Yes.
Like into their brain.
Have you seen Dream Scenario?
I didn't finish it.
Okay. So essentially there's like someone who comes to him with that concept and is like trying to figure out how they can advertise, which is not a surprising thing that they would immediately try to monetize what's happening.
But it's like, okay, so they're going to get in everybody's brains and then they're going to, when the bot's going to get in there, you know what I mean?
Amen.
Well, we did it, folks.
That's it.
Thanks to Mac Burrus for editing this episode.
Episode 2 coming at you.
Wow.
Alien April.
Great rhyme.
Beautiful stuff. I love it.
Nice.
As always, if you want to go and connect with us over on Instagram, you can at Dizzy Spell World. You could DM us ideas for things you'd like us to talk about, or DQs, some Dizzy questions.
Yes.
That you might have for us.
Yeah, we love those.
We love DQs. Yeah. All right. Thanks for listening. Special thanks to Jonathan Childers for playing the soundbed music that you hear in our episodes. Big shout out to Michael Eads, our producer, and We Own This Town Studios for letting us put our butts in your chairs and use your microphone. All right. Good night, Earthlings.
Bye.
Bye.
I just think that it'd be funny if we recorded you going wah, wah, and anytime that we said Elon Musk, that played.
I'm fine with that.